Hello friends, sometimes the truth is scarier than stories, and when the links of 3 different mysteries connect with each other, a secret comes to light, which makes us lose our sleep on hearing it. A small town named Rajpur, quiet from the outside, but filled with secrets from within. As night fell, strange silence descended upon its streets. In this very town lived a woman named Sapna. Her husband's behavior was changing day by day. He would disappear from home again, and whenever he returned, there was a strange fear in his eyes. Sapna asked him many times, but her husband never gave a straight answer. He would only say, "You wouldn't want to know." On the other side of the town, there was an old temple. It was said that something was buried deep in its foundation, something that should never be uncovered. One day, during the temple's repair work, laborers found bones deep inside. The whole town was terrified. Whose remains were these? The police came, but the report clearly stated ancient remains. But the townspeople whispered that these were no ordinary bones. That very night, Sapna felt as if someone was watching her. She hadn't looked outside, but near her house window, there was no one. A few days later, sudden cases of disappearance began in the town. People started vanishing without any trace. Sapna's husband, too, one night, suddenly went missing. In his room, only soil and dust scattered, as if someone had dragged him away. Sapna was broken, but she did not give up. She decided to find her husband. She found an old diary among her husband's paper. That diary mentioned the temple and a secret tunnel's map. Sapna gathered her courage and went to the temple. In the darkness of the night, with a torch in her hand and fear in her heart. Behind the temple, she really found a broken passage leading to an underground tunnel. The tunnel carried a strange stench and cold air. On the walls were stained like old blood. Suddenly, she felt someone was walking behind her. She turned her torch, but it was only empty darkness. Inside the tunnel, she found a large chamber. On its wall, old names were carved, as if prisoners had written their last word. On the same wall, she also saw her husband's name, and below it, written in blood, "Save me." Sapna's hands trembled. Was her husband still alive? Suddenly, she heard a voice from one corner of the tunnel, someone screaming. It was her husband's voice. Sapna ran in that direction, but what she saw there froze her soul. Her husband was chained, and standing beside him was the temple priest. The priest's eyes were red. Smiling, he said, "You should not have come." Terrified, Sapna asked, "What is all this?" The priest replied, "This temple is not just of God. It hides the secret of our generation. Every 100 years, a sacrifice must be made, and this time, it is your husband's turn." Sapna trembled, but she did not lose courage. She picked up a stone lying nearby and threw it at the priest. The priest fell, and Sapna quickly tried to open her husband's chain, but then the walls of the room started shaking, as if some other power was present there. Suddenly, a whisper started echoing in the air. "You cannot run away." Sapna and her husband somehow ran out of the tunnel, but as soon as they came out, they saw that the whole town was awake. People were running towards the temple. There was a strange expression on the faces of the people of the town, as if they were all a part of this mystery. Then an old woman shouted, "Bring them back, otherwise everything will be destroyed." Sapna and her husband started running away from the town, but at every street, at every turn, they saw someone chasing them. Finally, they reached the forest outside the town. In the jungle, they found an old house. They hid there. Inside the house were broken things, but on the wall was the same symbol which they had seen in the temple. The husband said, "This is something bigger, Sapna. The temple was just the beginning." Suddenly, the house door shut on its own. The light went out. In the darkness, they felt someone else was with them. Slowly, their eyes adjusted to the dark. In the corner, they saw someone's shadow. It was the same priest, but this time his eyes were even more terrifying. He said, "Do you think you can escape? The game has just begun." Sapna and her husband tried to break the door and run away, but outside the door, the entire town was standing. Everyone's eyes were empty, as if possessed by some other force. Sapna screamed, "What is all this?" The priest's voice echoed, "This is not just Rajpur. This is a curse, which will continue from generation to generation." And at that very moment, darkness spread all around, as if the whole town was suddenly swallowed. The night of Sagarpur had suddenly changed. The electricity kept going off again, and the winds were blowing as if warning of some invisible danger. Click turned on the light of his mobile, but on the screen suddenly appeared the shadow of an unknown face, and then disappeared. The next morning, a mysterious box was found near the pond. It had old bloodstains and a broken chain. Along with the box was a letter on which was written, "Whoever searches for the truth will disappear themselves." Even the village priest began to believe that this was no ordinary incident, but some unfulfilled spirit that wanted justice. Meanwhile, police officer Habit started started digging through the entire village file. It was revealed that 12 years ago, 3 missing cases had happened in this very area. The connection of all 3 cases was the same old mansion, which had now turned into ruin. It was said about the mansion that late at night, the sound of someone crying came from there. At night, Click and his friend Harry went to that mansion with a torch. Strange symbols were made on the wall. Suddenly, someone turned off the torch. In the darkness, only a whisper echoed. "You are also part of the same conspiracy." Harry shouted, "Who's there?" But no answer came. On the floor, they found an old camera that had fallen. Its last recording was, a woman was screaming, and behind her someone was chasing her. The camera battery ran out, but in the last frame, the same broken mirror of the mansion was visible. The next day, the police had the mansion excavated. From there, bones and some half-burnt papers were found. On the papers, it was written, "The 5th victim is left." Police Habit understood that the killer was still alive, and all this was part of a serial crime. Click felt that maybe he himself would be the next target, because he was the first one to find the pond box. The elder of the village said that the root of all this was a cursed well, hidden behind the mansion. At night, Click saw the same well in his dream. Instead of water, deep red waves were seen rising in it. A woman said, "If you want to know the truth, then free me." Click went to the well the next morning and peeped inside. The water was calm, but an icy wind was coming out from below. On the wall of the well, written in deep red, were the words, "The time has come." Meanwhile, Police Habit found out that the name of the village school teacher, Mohanlal, was linked to every old case. Mohanlal suddenly disappeared. In his house, only an incomplete diary was found. The diary said, "Suppressing the truth is the purpose of my life." When Click and Harry read the diary, they discovered that every victim was first imprisoned in the mansion. Secret rooms were built inside the mansion wall. In one room, the police found a doll wrapped in red cloth with its hands and feet tied. The village women said that this doll was used to bind a spirit, but then the doll's threads untied themselves. As soon as the thread broke, all the windows in the mansion slammed shut. In the darkness, a voice echoed, "My final justice must be done." Harry fainted in fear. Click saw a woman's shadow emerging on the wall, her hands stained with blood. Police Habit immediately pulled out his gun, but as soon as he fired, the sound came back like a hollow echo. Amidst fear and silence, suddenly a crack appeared on the mansion floor. From the crack, a secret tunnel was found below. Inside the tunnel were iron cages. In them lay old clothes and broken bangles. On one cage was written, "Here she cries." Click realized this was the place where the victims were imprisoned. From one cage, the police found a woman's bangle and a red dupatta. The village elder woman, upon seeing the dupatta, said, "This belongs to Lessica, who disappeared 10 years ago." Click was now convinced that the spirit was indeed Lessica. On one page of the diary was written, "If the 5th victim does not happen, the secret will be revealed." This meant that the real culprit was still out there, searching for the next victim. Suddenly, another girl from the village went missing. Her name was Hypo. All the villagers gathered outside the mansion, and then Habit began the search from the mansion's basement. Hippo's slipper and a broken phone were found. On the phone, the last recording was of a man's heavy voice. This game is not over yet. Now it was clear to everyone. The next battle would be with the shadow of the mansion, which had trapped everyone in its web. The villagers trembled with fear. All eyes were on the mansion, from where strange sounds continued all night. Click swore that he would bring Hippo back alive, even if it cost him his own life. The next morning, on the wall of the mansion, written in fresh blood, were the words, "Search and you shall lose." At night, the Police Habit deployed the entire force into the mansion, but every door seemed to be locked by some invisible power. At night, a faint scream of Hippo was heard from inside the mansion. Click immediately climbed up the wall and peeked inside. He saw Hippo was tied in iron chains, but beside her stood a woman whose face was only a shadow. That shadow slowly began to speak. "Nico's death is yet to be avenged." Click understood that this spirit wanted to tell the truth, but was bound by something. Habit reopened the old case file. The name of every victim was last recorded in Mohanlal's class register. That meant Mohanlal was not just a teacher, he was the one who chose the victims and brought them to the mansion. But the real game was being played by someone else. In a secret page of the diary, it was written, "Mohanlal is just a pawn." Police Habit suspected that the real mastermind was someone who carried a face of trust among all the village. Meanwhile, the wall of the mansion's basement collapsed and a new tunnel opened. As soon as they entered that tunnel, they saw hundreds of old photographs hanging of every victim. And at the very bottom, in one photo, Click and Harry were also visible. That photo was from yesterday, meaning someone had been following them. Harry said in fear, "That means we are next." Click gathered courage and said, "No, now the game will be reversed." Inside the tunnel, an old iron chest was found. In it were Nico's clothes and a broken bangle on which dried blood was stuck. Inside the chest, on a piece of paper, it was written, "Whoever opened this is now the next heir." As soon as the chest was closed, ashes started falling from the mansion's roof. A voice came, "My killer is from this village." Habit started interrogating the village. Everyone was silent out of fear. But then an old man came forward and said, "If you want to know the truth, dig the grave in the cremation ground." At night, a raw grave in the cremation ground was dug. From there, half-burnt bones and Mohanlal's locket were found. On opening the locket, there appeared a photo of the village head Dharamveer Singh. Click and Habit now believed that the real mastermind of the game was the headman himself. But the headman openly denied in front of everyone. Suddenly, Hippo's scream echoed from the mansion's window, and everyone started suspecting the headman. The villagers ran to catch the headman, but he mysteriously disappeared. At night, in the secret room of the mansion, the headman's name was found written in blood. On the wall, it was written, "The truth will come out no matter what." Click and Harry decided that now they had to enter the mansion one last time. Both took torches and rope and entered the basement. There, on a chair, Hippo was sitting, but her eyes were glowing red. It seemed as if a spirit had possessed her. Suddenly, Hippo said in a harsh voice, "I am Nico, and my revenge is incomplete." Click trembled, but he gathered courage and said, "Tell us, who killed you?" Nico's spirit said, "Dharamveer Singh had imprisoned me in the mansion, and Mohanlal worked on his order." Now the mystery was clear. The village headman was the real culprit. But then the mansion's roof began to collapse. Everyone ran outside. As soon as they came out, they saw the headman was standing in front of the mansion, and the story still remained incomplete. For the next part, comment below.
Hi friends, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to watch more thriller crime mysteries, keep supporting us with your love. This video is created only for entertainment purpose. See you in this next story.